Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most important lessons we can learn in life is to recognize our own worth. Too often we allow ourselves to be weighed down by relationships with people who simply don't care about us. It's crucial to understand that your value is not determined by the attention or approval of others. When you learn to identify toxic relationships, those that drain your energy and disregard your feelings, you begin to take the first step toward freedom. Emotional independence is key. You must cultivate the ability to rely on yourself emotionally rather than constantly seeking validation from others. This starts with setting healthy boundaries. Saying no and protecting your mental space is not selfish. It is necessary for your well-being. Letting go of those who don't care about you isn't about bitterness or revenge. It's about reclaiming your peace and empowering yourself to live fully. Self-love plays a critical role in this process. When you truly love yourself, you refuse to settle for neglect, disrespect, or indifference. Many of us get stuck in the cycle of needing approval, which limits our growth and happiness. Toxic connections take a heavy toll on our mental health, increasing anxiety, stress, and depression. That's why it's so important to build supportive networks, to surround yourself with people who uplift, encourage, and respect you. It takes courage to move on, but this courage is necessary to free yourself from those who do not value you. When you focus your time and energy on personal growth and positive relationships, you are investing in your future success and happiness. Remember, every moment you spend attached to someone who doesn't care is time and energy lost, energy you could use to nurture your dreams and your peace of mind. So today, I urge you to take that first step. Recognize your worth, set your boundaries, and free yourself. Because you deserve relationships that add value to your life, not ones that take it away. Recognizing your worth is the foundation of personal growth and emotional freedom. It's the very first step toward living a life where you are valued, respected, and genuinely cared for. Unfortunately, many people spend their entire lives struggling to see their own value clearly. They look for validation in the eyes of others, constantly questioning if they are enough, if they are worthy, or if they deserve happiness. But the truth is, your worth is inherent. It doesn't depend on anyone else's opinion, approval, or treatment of you. You were born with value simply because you exist. That intrinsic worth is not something anyone can give you or take away from you. It is already there, waiting for you to claim it. The problem begins when we allow external voices to shape our self-impingement. When you seek approval or love only from others, you put your emotional well-being in their hands. You become vulnerable to disappointment, rejection, and neglect because your sense of worth depends on how others behave toward you. And the painful reality is not everyone will treat you with care or respect. Some people will take you for granted, others may use you, and some simply won't notice your value at all. When you tie your self-worth to those relationships, you expose yourself to endless suffering and confusion. Recognizing your worth means breaking free from this external dependency. It means understanding that your value comes from who you are, not what you do, what you own, or how others perceive you. This shift in mindset is both liberating and transformative. When you truly grasp your worth, you begin to see yourself through a different lens, a lens of compassion, respect, and dignity. You start to treat yourself as you deserve to be treated because you know you are worthy of kindness, honesty, and love. One of the biggest barriers to recognizing your worth is comparison. It's natural to compare ourselves to others, but when comparison becomes a habit, it undermines our confidence. You might look at someone else's success, beauty, or popularity and think, I'm not good enough. But that is a lie your mind tells you to keep you small. Everyone's journey is unique, and your worth is not diminished by someone else's achievements. In fact, your worth increases when you embrace your individuality and celebrate your own strengths, no matter how different they are from those around you. Recognizing your worth also requires self-reflection and honesty. It means taking a clear-eyed look at yourself, acknowledging your strengths and weaknesses without judgment. It's about accepting all parts of yourself, your successes and your failures, your joys and your pain, because every aspect contributes to the person you are. Self-acceptance is a powerful act of self-love, and it lays the groundwork for healthy boundaries and strong relationships. When you accept your worth, you stop tolerating behavior that diminishes you or leaves you feeling small. Moreover, recognizing your worth means you begin to prioritize yourself in ways you may not have before. It encourages you to make choices that align with your values and well-being rather than constantly pleasing others. It teaches you to say no when something doesn't serve you, to walk away from situations that harm you, and to surround yourself with people who appreciate you for who you truly are. This is not selfishness. It is a necessary form of self-care. By valuing yourself, you create space for happiness, growth, and meaningful connections. Many people fear recognizing their worth because it can lead to change in relationships, environments, and habits, but staying in situations where you are not valued only prolongs pain and stagnation. True freedom begins when you embrace your worth and refuse to settle for anything less than respect and care. This recognition empowers you to reclaim your life and create boundaries that protect your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Recognizing your worth is the essential first step in freeing yourself from those who don't care about you. It is a journey of self-discovery, acceptance, and empowerment. When you understand your true value, you will no longer seek approval from others or tolerate neglect. Instead, you will stand firm in your dignity and demand the respect you deserve. Remember, you are worthy simply because you exist. Embrace that truth, and you will open the door to a life filled with peace, confidence, and genuine connection. Identifying toxic relationships is a crucial step toward protecting your emotional health and reclaiming your peace. Many people remain stuck in damaging connections because they don't fully understand what toxicity looks like or how it affects them. Toxic relationships aren't always easy to spot, especially when emotions are involved, but learning to recognize the signs can save you from years of unnecessary pain and frustration. It starts with understanding that not all relationships are meant to be positive or supportive. Some people, whether consciously or unconsciously, drain your energy, undermine your confidence, or treat you with indifference or disrespect. These relationships can be with friends, family members, romantic partners, or even colleagues. One of the first signs of a toxic relationship is consistent negativity. If you find yourself feeling worse after spending time with someone, feeling drained, anxious, unappreciated, or hurt, that's a warning sign. Healthy relationships should uplift and energize you, not wear you down. Pay attention to how you feel in the presence of certain people. If their words or actions regularly cause you distress, sadness, or self-doubt, it's time to take a closer look. Toxic individuals often criticize, belittle, or dismiss your feelings and opinions. They might constantly put you down, make you feel like you're not good enough, or ignore your needs entirely. Over time, this pattern erodes your self-esteem and creates a cycle of emotional pain. Another sign is a lack of reciprocity. Relationships are about give and take, mutual respect, care, and support. If you find that you are always giving while the other person takes without consideration, that relationship is imbalanced and unhealthy. For example, you might be the one who reaches out first, makes plans, or offers help, while they rarely reciprocate or acknowledge your efforts. This one-sidedness leaves you feeling used and undervalued. It's important to recognize that your time, energy, and emotions are precious. When someone consistently ignores or dismisses those gifts, they are not respecting your worth. Manipulation and control are also key indicators of toxicity. Toxic people often try to control how you think, feel, or act to suit their own needs or desires. This can come in many forms: guilt-tripping, gaslighting, making you doubt your own reality or feelings, or using emotional blackmail. These behaviors are harmful because they undermine your autonomy and self-trust. If someone makes you question your sanity, feel guilty for setting boundaries, or constantly forces you to justify your actions, that relationship is toxic and damaging. Emotional unpredictability is another factor. Toxic relationships often involve extreme highs and lows, creating a roller coaster effect that leaves you emotionally exhausted. You may experience moments of warmth and affection followed by coldness, anger, or withdrawal without clear reasons. This instability keeps you on edge, always trying to fix or appease the other person, which is exhausting and unsustainable. Healthy relationships have challenges, yes, but they are based on consistent respect and kindness, not emotional chaos. It's also important to understand that toxic relationships don't always mean outright hostility or abuse. Sometimes toxicity is subtle, like passive aggressiveness, chronic neglect, or consistent disregard for your boundaries. These quieter forms of toxicity can be just as damaging over time because they wear down your spirit little by little. You might convince yourself that things aren't that bad or that you can fix the relationship, but the truth is that no one has the right to treat you as less than you deserve. Recognizing toxic relationships requires honesty and courage. It means being willing to look at your connections with clear eyes and acknowledge when something isn't working. It also means understanding that ending or distancing yourself from toxic people is not selfish. It's an act of self-preservation and respect. Often people feel guilty or afraid of losing relationships, but staying in toxic situations only prolongs suffering and hinders your personal growth. Once you identify toxicity, you can begin to take steps to protect yourself. This may involve setting firm boundaries, seeking support from trusted friends or professionals, or gradually reducing contact with those who harm you. Remember, freeing yourself from toxic relationships opens space for healthier, more supportive connections. It allows you to focus on people who genuinely care about your well-being and growth. Learning to identify toxic relationships is essential to living a fulfilled and balanced life. By recognizing the signs of negativity, one-sidedness, manipulation, unpredictability, and subtle neglect, you empower yourself to take control of your emotional environment. Remember, you deserve relationships that respect your worth, uplift your spirit, and encourage your growth. Do not be afraid to free yourself from those who don't care about you. It's the first step toward healing and reclaiming your happiness. Emotional independence is a powerful skill that everyone should strive to develop, especially when it comes to freeing yourself from those who do not care about you. Too often, people become emotionally dependent on others for their happiness, self-worth, and sense of security. This dependence can create unhealthy attachments and make it difficult to leave relationships or situations that are damaging. Emotional independence means that you can stand strong within yourself, that your feelings, your confidence, and your peace do not hinge entirely on how others treat you or what they think about you. It means learning to rely on your inner strength and emotional resources rather than constantly seeking reassurance or validation from the outside world. At its core, emotional independence is about self-awareness and self-management. It requires you to know your emotions, understand what triggers them, and develop healthy ways to cope with feelings like loneliness, sadness, or anxiety without falling into destructive patterns. When you are emotionally independent, you can experience negative emotions without letting them control your behavior or cloud your judgment. That's instead of reacting impulsively to the approval or disapproval of others, you respond with clarity and balance. This ability is crucial when you need to separate yourself from people who don't genuinely care, because it gives you the strength to resist the temptation to cling to unhealthy relationships out of fear or insecurity. One major obstacle to emotional independence is the human need for connection. We are social beings, and it's natural to want love, acceptance, and companionship. However, there is a difference between healthy connection and unhealthy dependence. When your emotional well-being depends on others to complete you or make you feel worthy, you lose your personal power. Emotional independence reminds you that while relationships can enrich your life, they should not define your identity or dictate your emotional state. It encourages you to cultivate a strong sense of self that remains intact regardless of your relationship status or how others treat you. Developing emotional independence also means learning how to be alone without feeling lonely. Many people fear solitude because they associate it with emptiness or rejection. Yet, being comfortable with yourself in moments of solitude is a profound form of self-love. It allows you to recharge, reflect, and grow without distraction. When you enjoy your own company, you build confidence and resilience. You stop seeking constant external approval because you already appreciate and accept who you are. This mindset helps you avoid falling into the trap of tolerating neglect or indifference from others simply because you are afraid of being alone. Another important aspect of emotional independence is setting clear boundaries. When you understand your emotional needs and limits, you can communicate them effectively and assertively. You no longer allow others to overstep or manipulate you because you value your emotional well-being. This boundary setting creates a protective space where you can maintain your peace and focus on your growth. It also signals to others how you expect to be treated, which helps filter out those who do not respect you. Building emotional independence is not about shutting people out or becoming emotionally cold. Instead, it's about developing emotional maturity, the ability to engage in relationships from a place of strength rather than neediness. It means loving others without losing yourself and caring for others without sacrificing your own well-being. Emotional independence equips you with the tools to nurture healthy connections that are based on mutual respect and genuine care. The journey to emotional independence takes time, practice, and patience. It involves recognizing when you fall into patterns of dependence and consciously choosing to act differently. It may require professional support, such as counseling or coaching, especially if past experiences have damaged your ability to trust yourself or others. But the rewards are profound. Freedom from toxic attachments, improved mental health, and a deeper, more authentic relationship with yourself and others. Emotional independence is a vital skill that empowers you to free yourself from those who don't care about you. It allows you to stand strong emotionally, rely on your inner resources, and cultivate self-love and resilience. When you become emotionally independent, you no longer need to seek validation or approval from others to feel worthy or secure. Instead, you create a life where your happiness and peace come from within, enabling you to build healthier, more fulfilling relationships and to live authentically on your own terms. Setting healthy boundaries is one of the most essential skills for maintaining emotional well-being and freeing yourself from those who don't care about you. Boundaries are the invisible lines that define where you end and others begin. They help you protect your energy, maintain your self-respect, and communicate your needs clearly. Without boundaries, you become vulnerable to being taken advantage of, misunderstood, or neglected. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear rejection, conflict, or being seen as selfish. However, boundaries are not only necessary, they are a fundamental expression of self-love and self-care. Healthy boundaries create a safe space in your life where your feelings, values, and limits are honored. They allow you to decide what you will accept and what you will not tolerate from others. When you set clear boundaries, you send a message that you respect yourself and expect to be treated with dignity. This clarity helps weed out relationships that drain you or leave you feeling disrespected. It also strengthens relationships that are based on mutual respect and understanding. Boundaries protect your mental and emotional health by preventing you from overextending yourself or sacrificing your needs to please others. Many people confuse boundaries with walls or emotional distance. But setting boundaries is not about shutting people out. It is about defining how you want to be treated and creating guidelines for interaction. For example, you might set boundaries about how much time you spend with certain people, what topics are acceptable to discuss, or how you expect to be spoken to. Boundaries can be physical, emotional, or mental, and they vary depending on the relationship and situation. What is important is that the boundaries reflect your personal values and protect your well-being. One common reason people avoid setting boundaries is the fear of disappointing others or causing conflict. It's natural to want to be liked and to avoid tension, but sacrificing your boundaries to please others often leads to resentment and burnout. When you say yes to things that go against your values or needs, you lose a part of yourself. Over time, this can result in emotional exhaustion and a loss of identity. Learning to say no respectfully and firmly is a crucial part of boundary setting. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but it becomes easier with practice and builds your confidence. Setting boundaries also requires self-awareness. You need to understand your limits and what behaviors or situations negatively impact your emotional health. This means paying attention to your feelings and reactions. If you notice that certain interactions leave you feeling drained, disrespected, or anxious, that's a signal that a boundary needs to be established or reinforced. Reflect on what you need to feel safe and valued, then communicate those needs clearly to others. Another important aspect of setting boundaries is consistency. Boundaries only work if you enforce them regularly. When you let others cross your boundaries repeatedly without consequence, you teach them that your limits are negotiable or unimportant. Consistency shows that you are serious about your self-respect and helps others understand how to treat you. It also empowers you to maintain control over your emotional environment. It's important to recognize that some people may resist your boundaries. Those who benefit from your availability or compliance might push back or try to guilt you into giving in. This resistance is often a test of your resolve. Stay firm and remember that protecting your emotional health is not negotiable. True friends and caring people will respect your boundaries and appreciate your honesty. If someone continually ignores or disrespects your boundaries, it may be necessary to reevaluate the role they play in your life. Ultimately, setting healthy boundaries is about valuing yourself enough to create a life where you feel safe, respected, and cared for. It's a practice that empowers you to choose relationships that honor your worth and distance yourself from those that do not. When you set boundaries, you reclaim your power and create space for growth, happiness, and authentic connection. Healthy boundaries are not just rules for others. They are acts of self-respect and love. They help you protect your emotional well-being, communicate your needs, and foster relationships that support your growth. By setting and maintaining boundaries, you free yourself from those who don't care about you and open the door to a life filled with respect, peace, and genuine connection. Remember, your boundaries are a reflection of how much you value yourself. Never be afraid to uphold them. Recognizing your worth is a fundamental step toward freeing yourself from those who don't care about you. It is a journey of understanding that your value is inherent, unchanging, and not dependent on the opinions or actions of others. Many people live their lives allowing external factors to define their self-esteem, measuring their worth by how others treat them, the approval they receive, or their achievement. This external validation, however, is fragile and fleeting. True self-worth comes from within. It is rooted in an honest appreciation of who you are as a person, your strengths, your values, and your unique contributions to the world. When you truly recognize your worth, you start to see yourself through a lens of respect and kindness rather than criticism or doubt. You understand that you deserve love, respect, and care, not because you have to earn it or prove yourself, but simply because you exist. This understanding is powerful because it sets the foundation for healthy boundaries and self-protection. You no longer tolerate neglect, indifference, or mistreatment because you know these behaviors do not align with how someone who truly values you would act. Recognizing your worth is like holding a mirror that reflects back your true value, helping you make decisions that honor yourself. Many people struggle to recognize their worth because of past experiences, societal conditioning, or internalized negative beliefs. Perhaps you grew up in an environment where love was conditional or where your achievements were never fully acknowledged. Maybe you have been told you're not good enough or have internalized criticism from others. These experiences can deeply affect how you view yourself and make it difficult to believe you deserve better treatment. Overcoming these challenges requires patience, self-compassion, and intentional work to reframe your thoughts about yourself. A crucial part of recognizing your worth involves challenging and changing the negative narratives you tell yourself. These narratives might sound like, I'm not important, I don't deserve love, or I'm not worthy of respect. These thoughts are often automatic and deeply ingrained, but they can be challenged by consciously affirming positive truths about yourself. Practices such as daily affirmations, journaling your strengths and accomplishments, and surrounding yourself with positive influences can gradually rebuild your self-esteem. The more you reinforce these positive messages, the more you shift your mindset toward recognizing your true worth. Recognizing your worth also means understanding that you are enough, just as you are, without needing to change to fit someone else's expectations or desires. It encourages you to embrace your authentic self, flaws and all, rather than trying to mold yourself to gain acceptance. This authenticity attracts people who appreciate and respect you for who you genuinely are. rather than for a version of yourself you feel pressured to present. When you recognize your worth, you stop chasing approval from those who don't truly care, because you realize their opinions don't define you. Another important aspect is learning to celebrate your successes and progress, no matter how small. Often people focus only on their shortcomings or what they haven't achieved, which diminishes their sense of worth. By acknowledging your achievements and growth, you reinforce your value and remind yourself that you are capable and deserving of good things. This positive reinforcement helps build resilience, so when you face rejection or indifference from others, you can maintain a strong sense of self-worth that doesn't waver. Recognizing your worth also empowers you to walk away from relationships and situations that diminish you. When you truly understand your value, you no longer feel trapped by fear of loss or loneliness. Instead, you have the courage to let go of those who don't appreciate or care for you, knowing that better opportunities and healthier connections await. This empowerment transforms your life by freeing you from toxic attachments and creating space for growth, healing, and authentic happiness. In essence, recognizing your worth is not about arrogance or superiority. It is about respect, love, and kindness toward yourself. It is the foundation upon which you build a life free from the influence of those who do not care about you. When you recognize your worth, you make choices that honor your well-being, protect your peace, and nurture your growth. You begin to live with confidence, knowing that your value is constant, no matter what others say or do. Surrounding yourself with positive influences is a vital step in freeing yourself from those who don't care about you. The people we choose to have around us significantly shape our thoughts, emotions, and overall outlook on life. Positive influences act as a source of encouragement, inspiration, and support, helping us build the confidence and resilience necessary to break free from toxic or indifferent relationships. On the other hand, negative or unsupportive people can drain our energy, undermine our self-worth, and keep us trapped in harmful patterns. Understanding the power of your environment and deliberately choosing who to allow into your life is a foundational practice in cultivating emotional freedom and personal growth. Positive influences come in many forms: friends, family members, mentors, colleagues, or even inspiring figures we admire from a distance. What they have in common is that they lift you up rather than tear you down. They respect your boundaries, value your feelings, and encourage your growth. Being around such people helps you see your true worth more clearly and reminds you of your potential when you might be doubting yourself. These influences provide a mirror reflecting back your strengths and possibilities, which is especially important when you are working to detach from those who do not appreciate or care for you. It is important to recognize that surrounding yourself with positive influences does not mean seeking perfection in others or expecting them never to make mistakes. Rather, it means choosing to invest your time and energy in relationships that contribute to your well-being and inspire you to be your best self. These relationships are reciprocal, where support and respect flow both ways. Positive influences celebrate your successes and hold space for your struggles without judgment. They provide honest feedback while encouraging you to keep moving forward. Many people find themselves stuck in cycles of unhealthy relationships because of a lack of positive influences. They may have grown up around people who were emotionally unavailable, critical, or dismissive, and as a result, their sense of normalcy is skewed. Breaking free from this pattern requires a conscious effort to seek out healthier connections. This might mean expanding your social circle, joining groups or communities aligned with your values, or reaching out to mentors and role models who inspire you. It also means letting go of toxic relationships, even if it feels difficult or uncomfortable at first. One of the challenges in surrounding yourself with positive influences is identifying who truly fits that role. Sometimes people may appear supportive on the surface, but ultimately drain your energy or fail to respect your boundaries. Learning to discern who genuinely uplifts you requires paying attention to how you feel after interactions. Do you feel energized and motivated, or exhausted and diminished? Do these people respect your limits and encourage your growth, or do they pull you back into negativity? Trusting your intuition is crucial in building a supportive network. Surrounding yourself with positive influences also involves cultivating positivity within yourself. When you develop a mindset grounded in optimism, gratitude, and self-compassion, you naturally attract others with similar energies. Positivity is contagious. By working on your inner attitude, you not only improve your own well-being, but also create an environment that fosters healthy relationships. This internal work might include practices such as mindfulness, journaling, affirmations, or simply making a habit of focusing on what is good in your life. Positive influences can help you navigate the inevitable challenges that come with freeing yourself from people who don't care about you. They provide encouragement when you feel weak, remind you of your progress when you feel discouraged, and offer practical support when you face obstacles. This support system reinforces your resolve to prioritize your well-being and helps you stay committed to your journey of emotional freedom. Choosing to surround yourself with positive influences is an act of self-respect and empowerment. It sends a clear message to yourself and others that you value your mental and emotional health. It creates a foundation for a happier, healthier life where you can thrive without the weight of toxic attachments. Ultimately, the quality of the people you allow into your life directly affects the quality of your life experience. By intentionally surrounding yourself with positive, caring, and supportive people, you nurture your growth and resilience. You create an environment that supports your healing and encourages your best self to shine. This positive network becomes a vital source of strength as you move away from those who do not care about you and toward a life filled with respect, love, and genuine connection. Not seeking validation from others is one of the most important steps toward freeing yourself from those who don't care about you. It is easy to fall into the habit of measuring your worth and decisions based on what others think or say about you. Many people grow up learning to seek approval from parents, peers, or society, believing that their value depends on external acceptance. However, this mindset leaves you vulnerable to manipulation, disappointment, and a constant feeling of inadequacy. When you rely on others for validation, you give away your power and make your happiness dependent on factors outside your control. Learning to trust and validate yourself is a fundamental shift that leads to true freedom and emotional independence. Seeking validation from others often manifests in subtle ways. You might find yourself hesitating to express your true thoughts and feelings out of fear of judgment. You might change your behavior, appearance, or choices just to fit in or be liked. This constant need for approval can become exhausting and confusing because you lose touch with who you really are. Instead of making decisions based on your own values and desires, you make them based on what you think others want from you. Over time, this disconnect from yourself erodes your confidence and leads to feelings of emptiness and frustration. When you stop seeking validation from others, you reclaim your identity. You learn to trust your own judgment, intuition, and feelings. This doesn't mean you become arrogant or dismissive of feedback. It means you filter external opinions through your own sense of self-worth rather than letting them dictate your value. It's about building a strong internal compass that guides your decisions regardless of others' approval. This internal validation creates a solid foundation of confidence and self-respect that makes you less vulnerable to neglect or indifference from others. One reason people seek validation is the natural human desire for connection and acceptance. It's important to acknowledge that wanting to be valued is normal. However, the difference lies in how you fulfill this need. Healthy self-position comes from recognizing and appreciating your own worth rather than depending solely on others' recognition. This means learning to affirm yourself regularly through positive self-talk, setting realistic expectations, and celebrating your achievements without needing applause. These practices strengthen your internal sense of worth and reduce the power others have over your emotional state. Another critical aspect of not seeking validation is understanding that people who truly care about you will accept you as you are without you having to earn their approval. If you constantly feel the need to prove yourself or live up to unrealistic expectations, it may be a sign that those relationships are not healthy or supportive. When you base your self-worth on others' opinions, you may stay trapped in toxic relationships, hoping for acceptance that will never come. Recognizing this pattern helps you break free and invest your energy where it is genuinely appreciated. Learning not to seek validation also means embracing vulnerability and authenticity. When you stop trying to impress or please others, you give yourself permission to be imperfect and real. This authenticity attracts people who respect and value you for who you truly are. It also reduces anxiety and stress because you no longer have to maintain a facade or meet external standards. Living authentically fosters deeper connections and allows you to build relationships based on mutual respect rather than conditional acceptance. This process of internal validation can be challenging, especially if you are used to relying on others' approval. It requires patience, self-awareness, and consistent practice. One useful strategy is to pause before seeking others' opinions or reactions. Ask yourself if you need their validation to feel worthy, or if you can find reassurance within yourself. Over time, this practice strengthens your confidence and reduces dependency on external validation. Not seeking validation from others is about honoring your own voice and choices. It is a declaration that your worth is inherent and not contingent upon anyone else's approval. This mindset empowers you to make decisions that align with your values and well-being rather than trying to fit into someone else's mold. When you validate yourself, you free yourself from the influence of those who don't care about you and open the door to a life of authenticity, peace, and genuine happiness. Who don't care about you. Boundaries are the invisible lines that define where your personal space, emotions, and energy begin and end. They are not walls built to isolate you, but rather protective fences designed to keep you safe and respected. Without clear boundaries, people can take advantage of your kindness, neglect your needs, or treat you with indifference. Learning to set boundaries is an act of self-respect and self-care that allows you to control how others interact with you. And it creates a foundation for healthier relationships. Many people struggle with boundaries because they confuse them with rejection or harshness. There's a common misconception that saying no or standing up for yourself means you are being unkind or selfish. In reality, setting boundaries is a way to honor both yourself and others by communicating your limits clearly and respectfully. Boundaries help prevent resentment, burnout, and emotional harm. When you establish boundaries, you are teaching others how to treat you, which is crucial when you want to disengage from those who do not care about your well-being. Firm boundaries mean being consistent and clear about what is acceptable and what is not. It means saying no when you need to, without wavering or feeling guilty. For example, if someone repeatedly ignores your feelings or takes your kindness for granted, a firm boundary could be limiting contact with them or refusing to engage in conversations that are disrespectful. Consistency in enforcing these boundaries is key because it shows others that you mean what you say and are serious about protecting yourself. When boundaries are unclear or inconsistent, it invites confusion and can lead others to continue harmful behavior. At the same time, boundaries can and should be set kindly. Kindness in boundary setting means communicating your limits without aggression or hostility. You can be firm and assertive while still being respectful and empathetic. For instance, instead of accusing someone or attacking their character, you can express how their actions affect you and what you need going forward. This approach opens the door for understanding and maintains dignity on both sides. Kind boundaries help reduce conflict and increase the chances of positive change in relationships. Setting boundaries also requires self-awareness. You need to know what you are comfortable with, what your limits are, and what drains your energy or harms your emotional health. This understanding comes from reflecting on your feelings and experiences. Ask yourself questions like, when do I feel disrespected? What behaviors upset me? What am I willing to tolerate and what am I not? Knowing the answers helps you articulate your boundaries clearly and confidently. Without this clarity, it's easy to compromise your well-being to please others or avoid confrontation. It's important to recognize that not everyone will respect your boundaries, especially if they are used to treating you without consideration. Some people may react negatively, try to guilt you, or push against your limits. This reaction can be uncomfortable, but it also confirms that your boundaries are necessary. When someone resists your boundaries, it's a sign that you are standing up for yourself and disrupting old patterns of neglect or indifference. Over time, those who care about you will respect your boundaries and adjust their behavior accordingly, while others may fade away, which is a healthy outcome. Another key aspect of setting boundaries is learning to say no without over-explaining or feeling the need to justify yourself. Your boundaries are your personal right, and you don't owe anyone lengthy explanations or apologies. Simple, clear statements like, "I'm not comfortable with that," or "I need some space," are often enough. Practicing this helps build your confidence and reduces anxiety about disappointing others. Remember, saying no to others is saying yes to yourself. Setting boundaries firmly and kindly fosters emotional freedom. It allows you to protect your energy, reduce stress, and create space for relationships that are nurturing and genuine. It prevents you from being drained by people who don't care about you and empowers you to invest in connections where mutual respect and care exist. When you master the art of boundary setting, you take control of your life and well-being, which is essential to living with peace, confidence, and happiness. Self from those who don't care about you. When you center your attention on improving yourself, you shift your energy away from toxic relationships and toward your own well-being and potential. Healing is not just about recovering from past hurts. It's about growing stronger, wiser, and more resilient through your experiences. Self-growth is a continuous journey of learning, reflection, and transformation that builds a foundation for a happier and more fulfilling life. By investing in yourself, you create the strength and clarity needed to move on from those who fail to value or support you. Healing begins with acknowledging your pain and giving yourself permission to feel it fully. Many people try to avoid or suppress their emotional wounds, hoping they will disappear on their own. However, unaddressed pain can linger beneath the surface, influencing your thoughts, actions, and relationships in unhealthy ways. Accepting your emotions without judgment is the first step toward healing. This acceptance allows you to process your experiences, learn from them, and gradually let go of the negative impact they have on your life. It's important to remember that healing is not linear. There will be good days and setbacks, but every step forward counts. Self-growth involves developing self-awareness, which is crucial for healing and personal development. Self-awareness means understanding your thoughts, feelings, patterns, and triggers. It requires honest introspection and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths about yourself and your relationships. By becoming more aware of how certain people or situations affect you, you can make conscious choices that protect your mental and emotional health. This awareness also helps you identify areas where you want to grow, such as building self-confidence, improving communication skills, or cultivating patience and forgiveness. Taking responsibility for your growth is empowering because it puts you in the driver's seat of your life. While you cannot control how others behave or whether they care about you, you can control how you respond and what you do to improve yourself. This mindset shift from victimhood to empowerment transforms your experience. Instead of feeling stuck or helpless, you recognize that your healing and growth are within your power. This realization inspires action, such as setting goals, seeking support, or learning new coping strategies. One practical way to focus on self-growth and healing is to invest time in activities that nurture your mind, body, and spirit. This might include reading personal development books, attending workshops, practicing meditation or mindfulness, engaging in physical exercise, or exploring creative outlets like art or music. These activities promote balance and well-being, helping you build resilience and a positive outlook. They also create space for self-discovery and renewal, which are essential for moving on from unhealthy relationships. Surrounding yourself with supportive people who encourage your growth is another important aspect. Positive influences act as mirrors, reflecting your strengths and possibilities. They provide constructive feedback and celebrate your progress, reinforcing your commitment to self-improvement. Seeking professional help, such as counseling or therapy, can also be invaluable for healing deeper wounds and gaining tools to navigate complex emotions. Remember, asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Healing and growth also require forgiveness, not necessarily to excuse or forget the harm done to you, but to release yourself from the burden of anger, resentment, or bitterness. Holding on to negative feelings toward those who don't care about you keeps you emotionally tied to them. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, allowing you to move forward unencumbered. It opens the door to peace and a fresh start. Finally, focusing on self-growth and healing builds your self-worth and confidence. As you grow, you naturally raise your standards for how you expect to be treated. You become less tolerant of neglect or disrespect and more selective about who you allow into your life. This protective stance is not about closing yourself. You'll learn to love and care for yourself in ways that make toxic attachments unnecessary. In essence, focusing on self-growth and healing is the foundation for freeing yourself from those who don't care about you. It empowers you to reclaim your life, embrace your worth, and build a future filled with respect, love, and authentic connection. This journey is deeply personal, but universally transformative, leading you toward a life where your happiness depends on your own strength and choices rather than the actions or indifference of others. Surrounding yourself with those who uplift you is a vital step in freeing yourself from people who don't care about you. The company you keep has a profound influence on your mindset, emotional health, and overall well-being. People who genuinely uplift you bring positivity, encouragement, and support into your life. They celebrate your successes, help you through challenges, and respect your boundaries. Conversely, spending time with individuals who are indifferent or negative can drain your energy, undermine your confidence, and hold you back from reaching your potential. Understanding the importance of nurturing relationships that elevate your spirit is key to building a happier, healthier life. When you surround yourself with uplifting people, you create a positive environment that fosters growth and resilience. These individuals inspire you to become your best self by modeling behaviors such as kindness, perseverance, and authenticity. They listen without judgment, offer constructive feedback, and celebrate your progress without envy. This type of support is invaluable because it nurtures your self-esteem and motivates you to keep moving forward, especially during difficult times. The energy you receive from uplifting relationships can be a powerful source of strength and encouragement. On the other hand, being around those who don't care about you, or worse, who are toxic, can have the opposite effect. Such individuals may dismiss your feelings, belittle your achievements, or take advantage of your kindness. Their negativity can seep into your mindset, causing self-doubt and emotional exhaustion. It's easy to get caught in a cycle of trying to please or win the approval of people who are indifferent, but this effort is ultimately futile and harmful. Recognizing when relationships are one-sided or draining is the first step toward making conscious decisions about who deserves your time and energy. Building a circle of uplifting people doesn't happen by accident. It requires intention and effort. It means seeking out individuals who share your values, respect your boundaries, and genuinely care about your well-being. These can be friends, family members, mentors, colleagues, or even members of communities or groups where positivity and support are prioritized. Look for those who inspire you, challenge you to grow, and accept you as you are. Sometimes this may involve distancing yourself from old relationships that no longer serve you, or setting boundaries to protect your peace. It's also important to understand that uplifting relationships are reciprocal. While it's essential to be supported, it's equally important to be a source of support and encouragement for others. Healthy relationships thrive on mutual respect, empathy, and kindness. When you uplift others, you create a positive cycle that benefits everyone involved. This mindset shifts your focus from what you lack to what you can contribute, enriching your connections and strengthening your sense of community. Surrounding yourself with uplifting people also means being mindful of the subtle influences around you. Negative energy can come from not just close relationships, but also acquaintances, social media, and environments you frequent. It's crucial to curate your environment thoughtfully by limiting exposure to negativity and prioritizing interactions that recharge and motivate you. This may include joining groups focused on personal growth, engaging in uplifting conversations, or consuming content that inspires and educates. In addition, choosing the right people, cultivating your own uplifting qualities enhances your ability to attract and maintain positive relationships. Developing empathy, practicing gratitude, and maintaining a hopeful outlook create a magnetic energy that draws supportive individuals into your life. When you embody positivity and self-respect, you naturally repel those who don't align with your values and invite those who uplift and encourage you. The practice of surrounding yourself with uplifting people contributes significantly to your mental and emotional health. It reduces stress, combats loneliness, and builds a network of encouragement that helps you navigate life's challenges with greater ease. Knowing you have a reliable support system increases your confidence to set boundaries, pursue your goals, and live authentically. This sense of belonging and connection is essential to feeling valued and cared for, which in turn reinforces your self-worth. Surrounding yourself with those who uplift you is not just a nice to have, it is a necessary strategy for freeing yourself from the influence of those who don't care. It empowers you to create a nurturing environment that supports your growth, protects your emotional health, and enriches your life with genuine connections. By choosing to invest in uplifting relationships, you honor your value and open the door to a life filled with encouragement, positivity, and meaningful support. Learning to say no without guilt is a fundamental skill in freeing yourself from those who don't care about you. Many people struggle with this because they fear disappointing others or being seen as selfish. However, saying no is not only an act of self-respect, but also a crucial boundary-setting tool that protects your emotional and mental well-being. When you say no to demands, requests, or relationships that drain you or don't serve your highest good, you make space for more positive and meaningful experiences. Understanding the importance of this skill can transform your relationships and empower you to live authentically. Saying no begins with recognizing your own limits and priorities. It requires honest self-awareness about what you can realistically handle emotionally, physically, and mentally. Often people say yes automatically because they have been conditioned to put others first or fear rejection. This tendency can lead to burnout, resentment, and feeling undervalued. When you learn to identify your needs and boundaries clearly, saying no becomes an act of care toward yourself, not a rejection of others. It is a way of communicating that your time and energy are valuable and deserve to be honored. Guilt is one of the biggest obstacles to saying no. It often arises from societal or cultural conditioning that equates self-sacrifice with love or worthiness. You might feel guilty because you worry that saying no will hurt someone's feelings or damage a relationship. While empathy is important, it should not come at the cost of your own well-being. Saying no with kindness and firmness can actually strengthen relationships by establishing clear expectations and respect. People who truly care about you will understand and honor your boundaries. Those who don't may react negatively, but this reaction reveals more about their character than yours. To say no without guilt, it's helpful to practice assertive communication. This means expressing your decision clearly and respectfully without over-explaining or apologizing excessively. You don't owe anyone a long justification for protecting your boundaries. A simple, honest response like, "I can't commit to this right now," or "I need to focus on my well-being," is enough. The tone of your delivery matters as much as the words you choose. Being calm and confident conveys that your decision is thoughtful and not impulsive. This approach reduces misunderstandings and helps others accept your no gracefully. Learning to say no also involves letting go of the need for approval or validation from others. When your self-worth is tied to pleasing people, you become vulnerable to manipulation or emotional exhaustion. Developing a strong sense of self means valuing your own opinions, desires, and needs above external pressures. It means trusting that you are worthy of respect even when you refuse something. This mindset shift is empowering because it frees you from the trap of people-pleasing and opens the door to healthier, more balanced relationships. It's important to remember that saying no is a process that takes practice. If you're used to always saying yes, it might feel uncomfortable or even scary at first. You might worry about conflict or rejection. But these fears usually diminish over time as you experience the positive effects of setting boundaries. Start by practicing saying no in low-stakes situations, then gradually apply it to more challenging ones. Celebrate your progress and remind yourself that every no you say is a step toward greater freedom and self-respect. In addition to verbal no's, saying no also means learning to recognize nonverbal boundaries. This includes noticing when you feel overwhelmed, anxious, or drained in a relationship or situation. These feelings are your internal signals that your limits are being tested. Honoring these signals by stepping back or disengaging is another form of saying no. Trusting your intuition helps you avoid getting entangled in toxic or indifferent relationships. When you say no without guilt, you not only protect yourself, but also create a space where authentic connections can flourish. People who respect your boundaries are more likely to engage with you honestly and compassionately. They appreciate your clarity and respect your time and energy. This mutual respect forms the foundation for relationships that are based on genuine care rather than obligation or manipulation. Learning to say no without guilt is a powerful form of self-care and empowerment. It allows you to prioritize your happiness, protect your emotional health, and build stronger, healthier relationships. It's an essential step in freeing yourself from those who don't care about you, because it teaches you to honor your value and not settle for less than you deserve. Saying no is not about shutting people out. It's about opening the door to a life filled with respect, balance, and genuine connection. Practicing self-love and self-respect is one of the most important steps in freeing yourself from those who don't care about you. It is the foundation upon which all healthy relationships and personal growth are built. When you truly love and respect yourself, you set the standard for how others should treat you. Without this inner foundation, it's easy to tolerate neglect, disrespect, or indifference because you don't believe you deserve better. Developing self-love and self-respect is not just about feeling good or having confidence. It is a deliberate, ongoing practice that transforms the way you view yourself and the world around you. Self-love begins with accepting yourself fully, your strengths, weaknesses, successes, and failures. It means embracing your unique qualities without judgment or comparison to others. Many people struggle with self-love because they are trapped in cycles of negative self-talk, unrealistic expectations, or past traumas. Breaking free from these patterns requires patience, kindness, and intentional effort. When you start to appreciate your worth, regardless of external validation, you build resilience against the harmful influence of those who don't care about you. This inner acceptance acts as a shield, helping you maintain your peace and self-esteem even in difficult situations. Self-respect is closely tied to self-love, but focuses more on how you allow yourself to be treated by others. When you respect yourself, you understand that your boundaries, feelings, and needs are important and deserve to be honored. This awareness guides your choices in relationships and interactions. You become more selective about who you allow into your life, choosing people who uplift and support you rather than those who drain or dismiss you. Practicing self-respect means not settling for less than you deserve, refusing to tolerate disrespect, and standing firm in your values. It is the practice of protecting your dignity and prioritizing your well-being above pleasing others. One of the ways to nurture self-love and self-respect is through consistent self-care. This doesn't just mean occasional treats or relaxation, but a holistic approach to caring for your physical, emotional, and mental health. Eating nourishing foods, getting adequate rest, engaging in activities that bring joy, and setting aside time for reflection or meditation are all acts of self-love. When you prioritize your needs, you communicate to yourself and the world that you matter. This prioritization naturally leads to healthier boundaries and a stronger sense of self-worth. Another powerful aspect of practicing self-love is developing positive self-talk. The way you speak to yourself internally shapes your self-opinion and confidence. Instead of harsh criticism or doubt, cultivating affirmations, encouragement, and compassion nurtures your growth. This mental habit helps counteract the negative voices from others or your own past and reinforces your value. Positive self-talk also motivates you to pursue your goals and stand up against those who don't respect or care for you. It's also important to surround yourself with people who reflect and support your self-love and self-respect. The people you choose to engage with can either reinforce your worth or chip away at it. Being with those who appreciate you, encourage your growth, and treat you with kindness reinforces the message that you deserve respect and care. Conversely, relationships that undermine your self-esteem or leave you feeling unvalued should be reconsidered. Choosing uplifting company is a practical way to honor your self-respect daily. Practicing self-love and self-respect doesn't mean you will never feel hurt or disappointed, but it equips you with the tools to recover and protect yourself. When faced with those who don't care, your foundation of self-love helps you detach without bitterness or self-blame. You understand that their lack of care is a reflection of their limitations, not your value. This understanding empowers you to move on with grace and confidence, seeking connections that truly nourish your soul. Self-love and self-respect are lifelong journeys. They require patience, dedication, and continual self-reflection. The more you commit to these practices, the more you free yourself from toxic influences and step into a life of authenticity, peace, and joy. You begin to attract and cultivate relationships that honor your true worth, making it easier to walk away from those who don't care. In this way, self-love and self-respect are not just personal virtues, but powerful tools of liberation and transformation.